This is the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less. Ever wish you could re-listen to your favorite interview or segment? Do you enjoy hearing older shows for the first time in years? Then the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less is just what you need. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less. Today's show is from December the 9th back in 2014. I have put together a doubleheader with Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. Meathead and Greg are going to talk about doing fried chicken on your gas grill. It is a great method. I think it's worth revisiting. Let's get to it. Here's Greg and Meathead's conversation from December the 9th, 2014.
Anybody out there in the chat room who doesn't like fried chicken, raise your hand.
Yeah, that would be everybody loves fried chicken, of course. Yeah.
How often do you cook fried chicken, Greg?
Never.
Yeah. Why?
I go to Kentucky Fried Chicken to get fried chicken. Or if I'm in Saratoga Springs, I go to Hattie's Fried Chicken, a destination across the nation.
Big name check. Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
But no, I don't.
mean, it's a pain in the neck, isn't it?
It's perceived definitely to be like a messy task, and could be hot.
Spatters all over the place.
You screw it up. Oh, yes, right. I mean,
sets off the smoke.
So many negatives. So many negatives.
Yeah, and then you got you got to remove the chicken and the dripping.
Yeah.
Something. Blake's a Popeyes fan. I'm here to tell you that fried chicken is a barbecue food.
Really?
Now, I know that you and I have gone round and round about my definitions of barbecue, but this is a stretch, I will admit. But I'm telling you, if you love fried chicken, it's right there on your deck. Go out there, and I use my gas grill. Can you throw up slide number one?
Oh, absolutely. Hold on one second.
Now, I'm not
slide number
seeing
one.
you on Skype.
Yeah, I know. Well, I tripped a breaker right as we came on, and then I had to quickly get back on the air, and I forgot to enable the output so you can see everything. But right now I have the Dutch oven on your gas grill.
Don Geiger wants to know if you blew a fuse.
I tripped a breaker, of course. It blew a fuse. What am I, Ralphie over here in the Christmas Story, for crying out loud?
Okay. That's,
come on.
Are you able to get that picture up? I'm not able.
Yeah, it's up.
Okay.
Yep.
You can see this is just a cast iron Dutch oven.
Yeah.
And I put about 3/4 of an inch of cooking oil in there, and you can use just any old cooking oil, a neutral olive oil, corn oil, something with a high smoke point is good. Corn oil works.
What about peanut oil?
Canola oil is a good one. And now Ryan and I went through every kind of dredge and coating known to man.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to let it marinate overnight in buttermilk. Some people just simply dredge it in flour. Some people buttermilk, then flour. Some people eggs, then flour. Some people cornflakes, breadcrumbs, all kinds of variations you can experiment. We did them all. We tried them all. And what simply worked for us is just take the cold chicken and dip it in flour. And keep it up there for, if you would, a little bit.
It's up there.
This is a classic 4-burner grill, and the left 2 burners under the pot are on high. You got to close the lid before you put the chicken in and bring it up to around 375. Now, you don't have a lot of oil. You can fill it with oil and get it really deep and deep fry it. But the fried chicken experts say, and I haven't had a chance to test this, and you know me, I'm always testing, but the fried chicken experts say don't deep fry. They say the best fried chicken is a shallow fry where the top of the chicken is sticking out of the oil so steam can come out. I'm not quite sure I understand all of the physics and science there, but this is what the old Southern grandmas do, and I'm not going to argue with an old Southern grandma, at least for this first round of tests. So that's just breaded chicken on the left in about 3/4 of an inch of oil at 375, and it takes about 5 or 6 minutes to get really golden. You check the underside, then you flip it, And when you're done, when they're golden and you don't want to get them too dark, you test them with your thermometer. And if they're still not quite right, you want to go to 165. That's your USDA safe number. And we've talked about safe chicken before.
Yeah.
It's really worthwhile sticking to the USDA number for chicken. I did a pork chop today at 135, which is well below USDA, and I'm going to be just okay. But chicken, don't screw with the temperature guides. And if it's not quite there, you just take it out of the pot and lay it on the grates next to the pot. That's where the burners are off, and you just close the lid. And it cooks in the pot, and it roasts indirect, stays crispy. It's just like popping it in the oven.
Yeah.
And you can hold them there, and they drain. And the whole thing, I mean, it's just so simple. If it smokes, you're outdoors. Who gives a darn? If it spatters, you're on the grill. Who cares? And draining it, it's just easy. It just drips right through. I like doing it on the gas grill because you don't need charcoal and you don't need all the smoke. We played with smoke and a few other things, and we played with all kinds of variations. And you know what we liked the best? Plain old dipped in flour and fried. All of the fancy other dips and everything were fun and they were interesting.
Yeah.
But just plain old flour, and boy, they were good. We got great crusts on them.
No like liquid dip before into the flour. Just cold chicken, flour, and then boom into the grease.
Unbelievable. Just
wow.
Yeah, I mean, we tried it with the egg. What happens is, can you actually, let's see, I think it's slide number 2. Let me see. Right. Slide number 2. Yeah, pull up slide number 2.
All right. Got it up there.
Nope. There you go. This is slide number 2. This is a slightly different dip, and let's just skip right on past that and get down to the next slide, number 3.
All right. We're there.
And there it is coming along. Now you can see we got the really craggy, jaggy stuff going on here. That's with an egg dip first, and then the flour, and buttermilk and such. And then go ahead and jump right on in slide number 4.
Right. We're there. Wow, look at that.
Slide number 4.
Yeah.
There you go. Just sitting there draining. It wasn't quite, they usually fry up to about 155, 160 in a few minutes sitting there in the indirect side. And they drain the oil right off, and they just roast up nice and crisp. That raggy, jaggy, we used a hot spice blend before we did the dip to try to do a Nashville style. Nashville makes hot. And it turns out the hot Nashville style is just a hot sauce poured over it in most cases. And that hot sauce is blended usually with the frying oil. Really nice and good and greasy. That's good stuff. You know what's one of the better ones we had? We marinated the chicken for about an hour in pickle juice.
Pickle juice?
Pickle juice.
Oh, great.
Oh, it tasted like
dirty fried chicken.
Yeah, okay. No, what's the potato chips? Vinegar and salt?
Yeah, salt and vinegar potato chips.
Yeah, salt and vinegar potato chips. A lot of fun. But you can play with this, guys. It's really simple. Now, a couple of things you got to keep in mind. When you put cold chicken in hot oil, the oil bottoms out in a hurry. It goes. You want to start around 375. It'll dump right on down to 325 in a hurry, and it takes a while to come back up. So you want a really heavy-duty cast iron pot if you've got one, or an enamel pot. The heavier the pot, the more heat it will retain, the better off you are.
To put in your request for a future show, please contact John Solberg via email at johnjon@thebbqcentralshow.com.
Before I jump into the second segment, I have to ask you, are you following the Big Barbecue Central Show on social media? It is at BBQ Central Show on Instagram and Twitter. It is /BBQ Central Shows on the Facebook. Give the big show a follow. Couldn't be easier. Let's learn more about some Let's learn more about a summer fried chicken. That's not the way that was supposed to go, but I'm going to go with it. Let's jump back into Meathead and Greg's Chicken on the Gas Grill Fried from December the 9th, 2014.
Enamel pot. The heavier the pot, the more heat it will retain, the better you are. You may have to wait 10 minutes between batches to get the oil back up to temp. I see Kinger is asking about the secret
herbs and spices. Right. I was going to ask you about that.
You can mix those in with the flour. You can mix your own blend. I use, my favorite chicken blend is my Simon and Garfunkel blend. You can mix it in with the flour, or you can just sprinkle it right on the meat before you flour it, which is much more economical. You don't waste as much seasoning.
Are you getting a lot of flavor, though, in that when you're putting it in there and then you're deep frying it? You're not losing anything?
No. And I got to tell you, and maybe this is a bias, I was raised in the South, even though I'm in Chicago now. I was raised in the South. The simple chicken dipped in flour was, to me, the simplest, the most elegant. Now, people who read my website and follow know that I'm not really big on monkeying with the natural flavors of food. I like if it's swordfish, turkey, I'm not going to inject turkey with Cajun spices and stuff. I want turkey to taste like turkey. Yeah. So it may not surprise anybody that the simplest, the one I like the best, was just dipped in flour. But you can try dipping it in buttermilk. You can try dipping it in egg. And then after the buttermilk or the egg, you can move to flour. You can move to cornflakes. You can move to panko.
Yeah,
you can move to seasoned breadcrumbs. You can try all of those options to find what you want, or you can marinate overnight. You can brine it. You can before you dip, obviously. And the pickle juice, that's a brine. It's got a lot of salt in it, and it's got vinegar, salt and vinegar potato chips. That was so much fun. I didn't prefer it to the classic old simple dipped in flour, but it was sure good.
Meathead Goldwyn joining me here on the show. AmazingRibs.com is his website if you want to check it out, join the Pitmasters Club, whatever it is. Meathead, let me put you on ice here just for a second while we... All right, welcome back. Meathead Goldwyn joining us here on the show. AmazingRibs.com creator, host of the Pitmaster Cast, or whatever you call those things over there in the Pitmaster Club. Meathead, I would feel that maybe I'm not doing my job as a question asker or moderator of said conversation, that if we're doing fried chicken outside in a pot and there's flame and blah, 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 everybody always talks about deep frying turkey outside and the fire hazards that ensue. Are there legitimate fire hazard concerns doing it this way with fried chicken, or because it's more of a shallow and controlled environment versus the explosive deep fried turkey environment, it's not such a worry?
Well, anybody who's read my site and listened to your show with me on it knows that I am extremely safety conscious. There's not much of a risk here. Now, I notice in the chat room, Blake is talking about the classic shallow fry, which is done in a cast iron skillet. When you do that, that's when you got a lot of spattering. But you notice, if you want to throw slide one back up, I'm using a large cast iron
big Dutch
pot.
oven.
So any spatters and flying oil are not getting out. They're safe in there. And even if a little bit drips off the chicken onto the burners down below, those burners are off if you on the right-hand side.
Right.
So there's no flame under them. Now, when you crank it up the next day to grill a chicken, some of that oil that's dripped down onto the flavor bars is going to burn off and smell bad, and you just got to burn it off. It doesn't take long. Also, I'm looking at some other things in here in the Bob Parker's talking about buttermilk marinade, and I mentioned buttermilk.
That always seems to be like the hand-in-hand thing that people go to with fried chicken. We really
tried it. Now, we didn't get scientific about it. I contacted a poultry scientist at University of Arkansas. I talked to our Dr. Blonder. I talked to Dr. Tony Mata, who's primarily a beef guy. about the effects of buttermilk, and the best anybody can come up with is that maybe the acids are affecting things. I know, for example, in Indian cooking, they also often marinate in yogurt, which is similar to buttermilk in some ways. But every time we did it, unless my palate is fading, and it probably is, your palate fades as you age.
Yeah.
I could not discern in side-by-side blind tastings any significant difference that I could repeat. Taste it now. Here's my favorite. Come back 10 minutes. Taste it now and show the same one. I just didn't. And the problem with buttermilk is it burns. It darkens. Notice how dark that last slide is. Those dip it in egg, dip it in buttermilk. They darken real fast before the meat cooks, and you want the meat cooked. So for me, I skip the buttermilk. I skip the eggs. I just dust it in flour, roll it around, season it, dust it in flour, fry it, and by golly, it's good.
Wow.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, do you have a now dedicated fried chicken area on AmazingRibs.com?
We're working on that. I'm going to do some more. We've recently done hush puppies. We've done several fried things, and we're playing more and more because I now consider deep frying, or shallow frying in this case, my outdoor. I mean, there's no way my wife would let me do this in the kitchen. And it's just a mess, but it's an outdoor cooking technique. Hey, you guys, Outdoor Cooking Network, the motto of if it's not cooked outdoors, it's not cooking. Anything you can cook outdoors, I say, anything you can cook indoors, you can cook just as well or better outdoors. There was another question in the mosh pit over here about the
flash point of oil.
Flash point, or the smoke points of different oils. Yeah. And I have an article on fats and oils on AmazingRibs.com where I talk about the smoke points of each of the oil. I list most of the common cooking oils and their smoke points. For example, I'm looking at it now. I break them down into three categories: vegetable oils, olive oils, pure olive oil, about 440. Virgin olive oil about 420, extra virgin olive oil around 375, peanut oil around 450, canola oil around 400. These numbers, and if you research them on the internet, the numbers change from site to site because it's not a fixed thing. It has a lot to do with the manufacturer and how they do it. Soybean oil 450 to 500, pretty high smoke point there. Regular shortening around 330. Animal fats, and I get in all of them in here. I try to cover the range, but a cheap olive oil is good, or a canola oil. Peanut oil is good. You always worry about peanut oils and peanut products and allergies out there.
Yeah.
Look, Kinger. Kinger is such a great friend.
Yeah, I know. I've asked him to be on the show, but he's like, no.
He just posted the link.
We'll never come on the show.
What's that?
I said, I've asked him to come on the show a bunch of times. He's always like, no, I'm Canadian. I'm too good for you.
Get out.
I swear.
He does videos.
I know.
Fun.
Why do you think I asked him to be on the show? He won't do it.
It's great fun video. I know. He's a sweetheart.
He's too modest.
Yeah, he's modest. Exactly. He's shy. He's afraid all the girls will fawn over him.
Right.
Man, there's Kinger just minding his own business, posting a link to try to be helpful, and they start busting his chops. What is up with that? Sorry, Kinger. It's not right, man. It's just not right. I'm telling you. What's not right is if you're not following the Barbecue Central Show via podcast. So make sure you head over to the bbqcentralshow.com. Give the big show a follow. You'll never miss an episode of this show or the really big show again. Thank you so much for checking it out. Until next time on the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less, I am your host, John Solberg. I look forward to talking to you again soon.